Welcome back. As you can see, I figured out how to add a border around my webcam. I don't know if that looks good or not, but as you know, I've been going through the bots on chess.com with the goal of figuring out how to basically dominate a particular bot and then moving on to the next one. And I defined dominate as winning 8 in a row, or at least 9 out of 10. After I finished the 1200 rated bots, I moved on to the 1300 rated bots. The first one that I could find was Jade, which has the Belgium flag. I think that's the flag that it shows there. I'm going to crop this while I'm talking. I had a poor 6 first games against Jade, and I decided to throw those games away and not count them at all. I think I lost 3 of them and stalemated 1, so I only won 2 of those. But then I won 1, lost 1, and then won 8 in a row, which are the 10 games that I'm counting here. As usual, I let the computer choose which color we'd play each game. It turned out to be 5 white and 5 black. And as usual, I played the Scandinavian against e4. One time the bot opened with d4, and we ended up with the Queen's Gambit declined. As white, I always opened with d4, 4 times getting the London system, and once the Trumpowski. I didn't know that's what it was called, or I wasn't sure. And that's actually one of the games I'm going to show you here in just a minute. I am still keeping track of number of moves, kind of to gauge how quickly I can win once I have an advantage, which is one of my weaknesses so far in chess. Whether or not I know I have the advantage, I've been very poor at capitalizing on those advantages. So one of my goals was to make these shorter. And as you can see over the last 3 bots, I have brought the numbers down. Versus Jade, our longest game was 71 moves, averaged less than 50, which is lower than my average among all the bots. So I felt pretty good about that. And we had one game as short as 27 moves, which I think is also one of the ones I'm going to show you. And then last but not least is my blunder chart. Jade blundered less than the last couple of bots I played, but not as... she didn't have as few blunders as Maria or Elena, for example, or even the XQC bot, which were 1200. That kind of surprised me. But I was able to get my blunders down from the last 2 sets of bots to averaging less than 1 per game. And encouragingly, most of my blunders were what I would call positional blunders or tactical blunders, rather than hanging pieces, which is one thing I've got to stop in order to get my rating out of the thousands, out of the thousands and 1100s. So let's get that out of the way and just get right to the games. This is one of the e4 games in which I played the Scandinavian defense, which I like because it's fairly simple. There aren't as many lines as, say, the Caro-Kann or e5. If I respond with the e5, there's, dozens of different openings that can arise. Same with the Sicilian. But Scandinavian usually simplifies pretty quickly. And as long as you get out of it the first few moves, you should be okay. And we actually did book moves up to about there until the bot challenges my bishop. Here, the computer says I should just bring it to f5. But moving it here is not that bad, and which is what I did. And then it comes after my knight. Now what I'm supposed to do here is either bring it back this way or put it over here, or say check with the bishop. I was thinking if I put it here, then the pawn would challenge me. And I don't know why this has given me a problem in several recent games, because obviously if that happens, you can just go back. But for some reason I was worried about that, so I moved it up beside the pawns instead of to a good square. The bot responded with a not very accurate move, easily blocked check. It can't take here because of the bishop. And then it responds with a mistake going back, as they usually do. This is move 9 before the bot's first mistake in this game. And now I have my only advantage of the game. If only I would capitalize. Here, I need to take this knight, or just put the bishop safely back here. But I did not, and that turns out to be a mistake. if you were watching the evaluation bar over on the left side. Well, because they can castle, they also could have just challenged my knight here. And I make a further mistake. They do challenge my knight. And now basically I'm on the run. The bot tries to help by making this slight mistake, which I'm supposed to respond to just by capturing. Or by capturing this bishop. I have no idea why I did this. But that's what I did. And I lost the bishop for the knight. But now, I guess I have one more blunder to make. The game is not that far out of reach right now. If only I would make a good move. But I played that, and then I didn't stand a chance. And so the bot very quickly comes through here with a bunch of pieces. I'm thrown off balance. Look at this. I mean, they're just all coming through here. The queen's pointing through here, and the rook's coming around. I'm boxed in, and I'm about to lose everything. I tried to block with the pawn instead of just getting out of the way. But that means that this bishop guards through here, so the rook can come down, right? So I should have just killed it with my queen here, but I moved out of check this time. And then it was just a few more moves until the bot just utterly decimated me down here. And it was a little embarrassing how fast it was. 27 moves. So, but in other games, like this one, instead of playing the normal London, which is just placing this bishop here, this knight here, pawn up, get this bishop out of the way, and then castle, I decided to directly challenge this. I think I saw this on a video not too long ago, where if you get to it soon enough, you can damage, because they're planning probably on fianchettoing here. But if you are able to capture this now, they have to take with the pawn, and it messes up their pawn structure. So I thought, you know what, I'll try that. But instead it went there. I didn't know what to do after this point. But I did realize I need to either bring my bishop back, which is actually what the computer is recommending. But I did the second best move, which was defend. I had no idea these are book moves. Here I'm supposed to just move forward, it says. But I decided to defend that pawn. And remember, this is part of the London opening anyway, is to get this knight out. And it just happens to defend that pawn. Here, we opened up my H-file for the rook, which happens surprisingly often with the London. And then that's an easily blocked check, although I didn't do it the perfect way. Then move 6, the bot makes a mistake. Should have just taken... This is the whole point of putting the c-pawn here in the first place, is to take a central pawn. And I remember hearing recently, probably from Gotham Chess, that if you have a pawn right here, and they move a knight right there, just attack it with the pawn, which I did. The bot makes, now move 7. The bot made a mistake on move 6. Now the bot's making a mistake on move 7. My advantage is almost at 4 points here, over on the bar. I protect this pawn. It says not accurate, but it's a big center. I still have a good advantage. Now, move 8. Bot makes its 3rd mistake in a row. And never gets the advantage at any point. Now, even though I still have... Well, I make my only mistake of the game right here. But that's not that bad because I had such a big advantage. I still have an advantage, even with the mistake. So now... Because the bot made 3 mistakes in a row, as long as I don't hang a piece or mate or something, you're going to win. Bot adds a 4th mistake for good measure. I'm able to say check and start tearing apart the king side. Look at that. That's why that open H file comes in really handy, because boom. And now I've got my 2 heavy pieces down here. I don't know why it didn't capture my rook down there. But I have 2 heavy pieces down here. I have a pretty good open file for this. This knight isn't pinned anymore, can come to help anytime. And so the king has to go on the run. I can come after it pretty easily. Take off, the only piece they had that's not on the back row. And, I'm not going to go through the rest of this game, but just to show you that just like the 1200 rated bots, the 1300 rated bot will make a mistake, usually within the first 10 moves. And in this case, it made 3 in a row. And that's a 1300 rated bot. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is a notorious one that I have actually heard about, Nelson. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching.